Welcome to our super sweet editing studio here.
We're traveling on the road for a few months in the Airstream, so we've got a very professional setup
Oh
here.
yeah, on the laptop.
We're in the Airstream.
All 190 square feet of our home.
All right,
cool.
Let's switch it back over here. All right, sweet. So yeah, we are. Okay, we good?
Yeah, we should be good.
We're super excited to release our brand new preset.
Yes, the Fox Film and Film Pushed. Obviously, it's kind of like modeled after a filmy look, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's like, yeah, this is supposed to look exactly like film.
No.
More like we just wanted to bring some of the characters that we liked about film into a preset with like our original presets, colors, and yeah, we're stoked about it.
Super stoked. So like the original inspiration for this preset was just trying to create an editing style that like really captured
performed well in like really harsh light.
Yes.
Like we had Fox Harsh in our original preset pack and it was great, but like we got into shooting film a few years ago, and like every single photo we would get back, even if in like the harshest, worst light, it was like, dang, that looks
so
good. So we kind of like went back to the drawing board, started playing around with new presets, and came up with these. So like originally, just to like really bring that dynamic range, blend them a little bit better when you have just dappled light in forests or really
harsh light, that like super ugly light.
Like midday in the desert, just the worst light you've ever seen.
But like film, it looks so good on film, and that's really what we wanted to do with this preset.
And then like where it went is like we're not just using it on those like harsh light photos anymore, because
we're using it all the time. Like we really like just like the soft, creamy, delicious dreaminess of that, and we started using it on our even lighting photos and our sunset lighting, and
it's just like a creamier, dreamier, softer version of the original Fox. Like still has similar colors, but like as you'll see, it's got like a very different look. And then the modifiers are also, I think, like I almost love having the modifiers even more than like the new preset. It makes that whole editing workflow so nice and allows you to like really dial in each image after that one-click preset application.
Yeah, we found ourselves doing a lot of the same tweaks for certain landscapes, colors, skin tones to achieve different looks for like warming up an image or like making it more contrasty or less contrasty.
Enhancing the light source.
Yeah. So we just made modifiers so that now, like for our workflow, we apply our preset, we pick our modifiers based on, you know, a certain look that we're trying to achieve, and like boom, we're done. And honestly, we're using the modifiers on our older like original Fox preset as well. So it's just it's an awesome preset, and we use it on at least half of our galleries now, if not more. Like we're using it so much on our work.
So we've got like 10 different photos that Gabby's gonna run through and just give you a little preview into how we edit. We've got like different landscapes and light, different lighting conditions and everything. So I'm gonna jump out of here and let Gabby take over, and hope you guys like it.
Alright, so I'm just going to run you through our different presets and the modifiers and show you how everything works, and kind of explain what situation we would use each of the modifiers, and then I'll run through actually editing 10 different photos. And I picked this photo because I think it does a good job of showing how you could use all the modifiers, but I wouldn't necessarily use all of them on one photo. But yeah, I think it's a good example to kind of show all the presets we've created. So I'm gonna just throw Fox Film on here, and I'm actually gonna just bump the exposure up a little bit, about there. Cool. So you can see this is like, it's very different than our original preset. It's a lot softer, not quite as punchy, but we're still true to color. We still have a lot of the same elements of our original preset. So it's great to use the two of them seamlessly in one gallery. But for a lot of this kind of more dreamier look, more filmy look, this is definitely the way to go. And then I'm going to hover over our pushed preset, so it'll show you the difference there. And I'll remove it and put it back, and you can see like if you pay attention to a lot of the highlights, like in her dress here, where the sky meets the mountains, the snow, you can see where those highlights are just a little bit more emphasized. They are dreamier. They do have a softer kind of glow to them. So that's a really fun one to use in certain situations, depending on the look you're going for. To show you all the modifiers, I'm just going to leave it on Fox Film. And the first three change just the colors in an image. So I'll hover over the blues here, and you can see like if you pay attention to the mountains here, when I hover over the blues, it changes the hue slightly. So sometimes the blues can have a little bit of that like aqua color to them, and personally we like that effect. But if the blue is really, really intense, if there's like a really rich pool or pond, or the sky is just like crazy blue, having that modifier right there is really nice to bring a little bit more violet and magenta back into the blues. And we don't have a ton of green in this photo, but I'm actually going to zoom in on the bouquet so you can see how the greens work. So if I hover over it, you can see, and you can even see in the background here, these little pieces of green. It just makes them a little bit deeper, a little bit richer, not quite as orangey and yellow. So it's not necessarily, we don't use it for every single image, but if there's a lot of greens that are looking a little bit too like fall color greens, that's a great time to bring in this modifier. And then to show you the red and orange, I'm going to actually zoom in and pay attention to like their skin tones and like her hair here. So I'm going to hover over the reds and oranges and then move away, hovering again. So you can see that it's not making a huge change. It's just enough so that you don't have, too intense of reds and oranges. It works really well in desert landscapes. That's a place that we use this modifier often. If anyone has any fake tans that you're trying to mellow out a little bit, that helps. So yeah. And the way that these colors work is you can apply one. So like say we'll put the greens on there, and then you can apply, or you could apply two, or you could apply three. It is only going to affect that specific tone or that specific color range when you're using it. So yeah, cool. Then we've got contrast minus and plus. And these are adding and subtracting contrast, but it's not just moving the contrast slider. It's also using the highlights, the shadows, the whites, the blacks, the tone curve. So it's affecting a lot more than just the contrast slider. And that is to be able to maintain the look you want to achieve with more or less contrast, and be able to do it without changing the colors and things like that. So then we've got grain minus or plus. If I zoom in, you can kind of zoom in, like you can see we've got less grain or more grain depending on the look you're going for. I'm gonna reset it and just go back here. Then we've got this mask we've got two masks. The first one is called the Golden Globe, and this is a preset or a modifier that we really love to use when we want to amplify the direction of the light and create something, just create something that's a little bit more dramatic. So you can see the light source is coming from the left side of the frame here. So if I were to use it on this photo, I'd click the Golden Globe, and I'm going to click the masks here, and you can see this is just a radial filter right here that messes with a bunch of different sliders. And you can lower, what's really cool about Lightroom is you can lower the amount of a preset, and actually this works for any of the modifiers and the regular presets as well. You can lower the amount that the effect of the preset, what the effect of the preset is taking on the image. So that's pretty cool, and you can increase it as well. So usually what I'll do is I'll apply it and kind of move it around to a number that I feel like looks natural with the image, but is still adding a really cool effect. And then you can click and drag to the area that you want to enhance, where the light source is coming from. And usually I'll do something like that where half of the radial filter is off frame and half of it is bleeding into the images and kind of hitting the backs of your couples or the tops of the mountains or things like that. I also like to use this a lot in the redwoods or forests, where you can see a ball of sun, and you want to make it feel like the light rays are peeking in through the trees and the leaves and stuff like that. So and I'm gonna actually delete it here. So there it is without the Golden Globe. Oops. There it is with the Golden Globe. You can kind of see the before and after of that, and the effect it has on the overall image. So and then we've got, I'll just leave it on here for now. And then we've got the vignette mask, which when I hover over it, you can see it's just a simple vignette. It adds just a really soft vignette to the image that helps enhance whatever's happening in the center of your frame. And similar with the Golden Globe, you can move that around and expand and close it to kind of fit the vibe that you're going for that image. We've got saturation, which helps if you've got a really intense color, landscape or light, or light that's making bouncing around a lot of water, that's making things look really, really rich and vibrant. And then I've got this soften, and I'm actually, let me zoom back in here, and you can see when I hover over soften, the effect that it takes on the image. I don't use soften a whole lot in mountain landscapes, because I do like seeing the sharp lines and edges in that sort of a landscape. But where I do use it a lot is a forest or really busy scenes. In the trees, you've got like leaves and bark and sticks and twigs everywhere, so using the soften just makes everything look a little bit more dreamy and not quite as busy and messy. So that's a great one. Any like closer, tighter photos where you want skin tones and skin in general just to look a little bit softer and dreamy, that's a great time to use that one. And then we've got tones. We've got tone cool and tone warm, and so if I hover over, you can see it's kind of, so obviously this one will cool the image down a little bit, and you can mess with the percentage there. So if you don't want it to cool down too much, you know, you can just lower it a little bit. That's a great one for desert landscapes if things are like super duper warm. And then obviously we have warm, which is a great one for mountain landscapes during like blue hour, things like that. And you can tone that down as well. Cool. So I'll just reset here and put it back. Put it back to the original so you can kind of see that. Cool. So yeah, those are the presets, the modifiers. You've got a ton of control with the amount here, so you can really play with that and achieve the looks that you want these presets. Sweet. So I'm just gonna run through 10 photos from a bunch of different landscapes and areas and show you how I like to edit with everything. Okay, so the first photo I have here is that it's in Joshua Tree, super harsh desert light, just direct on your couple, like you can see the shadows behind them. So it's just that like hot light. And I'm just gonna hover, if I hover over Fox Film, you can kind of see what happens with the colors there. I'll hover over pushed. I'm gonna go with Fox Film for this one, and I'm actually gonna bring the contrast down. So as far as modifiers goes, I'm gonna bring the contrast down a little bit here. And then the one other thing, have a look at this cactus. Like if I go to the before, I really like how green it is. So, and this is a modifier that I use quite a bit when I'm not in the mountains. You can, if I hover over that, you can see how that affects the green here. And honestly, like, there you go. I would probably just leave it right here. I'll show you the before and the after. It just makes it feel, you know, slightly more filmy. It brings the shadows up and it brings the highlights down in a really nice, soft way. Yeah, I think it looks great. Cool. So there you go. What's the next one? Oh, okay. This one is also super hard lighting. She's obviously, they're in direct light and she's obviously like, you know, it being hit by the sun and his face is in shadow. So it's like kind of tricky for that reason alone. And then let's see, I think I'm going to use the pushed here because if you have a look at the highlights, you can see push is like a slightly more like dreamy highlights, and I really like that, especially for this romantic kind of a photo here. So I'm gonna do the pushed. I might bring the exposure down just a little bit, and I'm gonna use the green modifier here again. But I'm actually also going to use the blue modifier. If you have a look at the lavender here, if I hover over the blue, it just makes it slightly more purple, and I really like that. So I'm going to use that. The one other thing I'm going to use is tone. I've got 2 tone modifiers, one for cool, which I end up using a lot in desert landscapes, and then one for warm when I want to bring in a little bit of warmth. And one thing, I don't know if you've noticed this bar right here, one thing I really love about Lightroom is you can click on a modifier or any preset, and you can bring the amount that it affects your image up or down. So you can, this is something I do a lot with the tone modifiers, is I'll just bring it down, let's say like right about here, maybe I'll bring it up. I do really like the warm skin tones here. And then I'm just gonna bring the exposure down just a hair. Yeah, so there you go. There's the before and there's the after. It's still really dramatic, still has nice contrast, but you're not, you're able to preserve the shadows and the highlights, and it's just kind of dreamy. I love it. Okay, cool. So next one, another harsh lighting situation, but we're in the desert now, so you can kind of see how the colors work there. I think I'm gonna go with the regular film here. I'll hover over push so you can kind of see how that affects it a little bit more. Slightly more cooler hues out in the desert landscape, so if you like that vintage look, that could be a great way to go. But I'm gonna stick with the Fox film here and just show you guys a couple of the modifiers that I'm going to use. One thing that I really like, especially in the desert, is the reds and oranges. You can see a subtle change, especially like if I zoom in like on their skin, you can see just this subtle change, and it keeps the reds and the oranges, but it brings it down just enough where it's not too intense. And then let's see, what else do I want to do here? I might even put this warmth on here and just bring it down just a hair, because I like what it does to the overall image. Cool. So there's the before, there's the after. Again, the before and after. Sweet. So, okay, now we're in the forest, and it's that like crazy lighting where the sun is high in the sky and just peeking through all these different like cracks through the forest and the leaves and the trees, and it's kind of messy, and yeah, just that really tricky lighting here. So let's go. I'm gonna go with the regular Fox film here, and honestly, like, that looks pretty good right there. Let me see. One thing I do like to do in the forest, I do like the warmth of the greens here, so I would probably leave it there, but you can make them a little bit cooler with the modifier there, and that's kind of fun to play with. And then bring in just a little bit more warmth to the overall image there. So that's probably where I'd leave that. And you can see with the before and after just how it lifts those shadows up really nicely. Cool. Okay. Got another harsh forest one here, and I'm gonna use let's see, which one do I want to use? I'm going to use the pushed for this one, because I really like how dreamy it's making the highlights here. Do I want to mess with the greens? Yeah, maybe I'll cool those greens down a little bit. And I'm going to use this modifier called the Golden Globe, and I end up using this a ton actually in the forest, where I'm trying to, wherever the light is coming from, I want to just make it more dramatic. And yeah, so this is one that I use a lot on in forests, or if I'm shooting like a sunset and like you're getting that side light and you want to make it just a little bit more dramatic, and the sun's off camera, off frame. I have another example where I use that later, but for this one, let me click on it and show you. So basically, it's just a radial filter, and you can move it around to wherever you want. You can also lower the intensity here. So if you only just want like a little bit, you can lower the intensity that way. I'm gonna leave it at 100, and then actually, maybe I'll lower it a little bit. And then usually what I do is I'll bring it up here, and it messes with the colors a little bit too, so you can go ahead and change the color based on like your landscape and the look you're trying to achieve. But you can move it to where your light source is, or where it's coming from, and like where it's kind of hitting. And actually, maybe I'll bring it back up to 100. Around there. Every time I mess with the slider, it moves back to the center of the image, but okay. There we go. Sweet. So let me, and I just want to show you what it looks like with it and without it. So if I delete it, so there, that's what it looks like without it, and that's what it looks like with it. So you can really get, so without, that's with. So you can really enhance the light source in an image with the Golden Globe, and I just love that. Just to add a little bit of drama to the image. Okay, so this, let's see, what preset do I want to use here? Here's the Fox Film and the Fox Push. This is a good example. Here, I'll use film here. This is a good example of when using the reds and oranges modifier is really helpful. If people have like a fake tan or anything like that, and you're just trying to chill out those skin tones a little bit, this is a great modifier here. I also like the pushed, and then you can use the modifier there as well. Another modifier that I really like, especially for close-ups like this, is just the soften, and it's a really subtle modifier that just adds a little bit of softness to the images, and it's just very flattering for those close-up, those details. Just helps make it look a little bit more dreamy. Yeah, so there's the before, there's the after on that. Okay. Sweet. So here's another. So this is like a really cool image here. The sun was not out. I think it was like hiding behind a big heavy cloud, and there's a lot of cool tones in the landscape here. So let's do, which do I want to do? Maybe I'll do the Fox Film. Oop, and I'll bring the exposure back down here. And then I'm just gonna hover over the blue. If you're not into, sometimes the preset can have that that really like kind of fun enhancement of blues. If you're not into that on an image, especially if it is already like pretty cool, you can just apply the modifier here and it'll chill your blues down. And then let's see, what else did I want to add? You can add this, the warmth as well. This is another great one that just, and you can tone it, maybe I'll tone it down a little bit. This is another great example of when to use the warmth. There's the before, there's the after. Sweet. Let's see, what do I want to use here? I think I'll just use the regular Fox Film on here. This is like kind of a one-click, honestly. I really like, it's still very punchy, very like high contrast just because of what the light's doing here. But you can also bring the contrast down, like if you wanted to make the image a little bit less intense, there's the contrast modifier. It just brings that down a little bit, but you're still getting those like really creamy tones, really nice image. Yeah, and then that's probably all I would do. I don't actually hovering over the vignette, I kind of like that just to add a little bit more drama there. There's the before, and there's the after. Okay. Oh, this one I actually didn't reset. Cool. Watch me straighten this out a little bit. Sweet. Okay, sweet. So let's see. We've got a desert landscape here, I'm gonna bring the exposure up just a hair. Let's see, what do we want to go with here? I think I'm gonna go with the pushed. I just like what it's doing with the shadows here, keeping that dramatic, kind of high contrast look here. And then I'm going to warm it up a little bit, bring in the warm tone, and then I'm gonna bring in the Golden Globe as well. I'm gonna move it way over here, and kind of rotate it a little bit to play off of this flare we've got going on. And I'm like seeing a little bit of orangey tones in the skin tone, so I'm gonna just put that on there, and boom, there you go. There's the before, and there's the after. Alright, sweet. Okay, so this is our last one here. We got that mountain sunset. Which one do I want to go with? I think I'm gonna go with the film pushed. I just like what it's doing to the colors here too. The pushed, and then I bring this up just a little bit, and I might even add some contrast here. Bring that back down, because I really like the high contrast in this image, and this already is like doing it for me. I'm really happy with where we're at. But I'm gonna bring the Golden Globe in and just maybe bring it down a little bit and move it off to where the sun is at. And I'm gonna pull it out all the way here, just to kind of get a little extra drama. Cool. So there's the before and the after. And I like to do this too, just like I delete it to make sure that I do want it in there. Yeah. It just adds a little bit more character to the image. So, cool. There's the before, there's the after. Sweet. So yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed editing these photos with me, and I hope you enjoy using our new Fox presets.